see she's sick. She's been through a lot in a short period of time. She's all fucked up.
You watch your language, miss.
Good hello, my fellow stinky visitors here in hell. I hope you're not in misery at the moment. I hope you have something to look forward to today. Perhaps a tasty bite to eat? This piece is titled No Time for Womanly Philosophers. It was written and copyrighted 2026 by Alexander T. Newport, your Philobabblist, Extraordinaire. Let us begin by counting down. 3, 2, 1.
As a perfectly healthy American male chauvinist pig, I must state unequivocally that there's a good reason why most philosophy books are written by men. We are discussing the fundamental questions about this temporary existence, and that is a primal urge, fueled by testosterone, to understand this reality. It's a deadly serious subject, and it naturally invokes passion and enthusiasm. And in order to stand in the arena, you have to be tough and willing to defend your points of view. And sometimes that means literally meeting up in person and fighting each other with machetes and cricket bats. Your video is in a public forum, and you have put your lily-white neck on the line, in public, expressing your thoughts, ideas, and conclusions. And therefore, you have to be realistic about what kind of feedback you will receive. Most of it will be argumentative, because that is the emotional and egotistical nature of the subject. And sometimes, the discussion turns violent, and you have to be willing to rise up to the challenge of your rival and fight with your fists. Discussing philosophy and spirituality is similar to an appearance in court. You have to make your case, and then expect cross-examination. You have to be willing to defend your case, and that means you have to care about being right. If you don't care, your arguments or replies will appear weak and limp-wristed. And that's disgusting. The court of philosophy and spirituality is not the place for afternoon tea and a polite discussion amongst elderly ladies about our delicate philosophical curiosities. It is meant to be an intellectual scene of carnage with only one winner. You said in your video, reality is what it is, regardless of what any of us believe about it. Shouldn't you define this thing you call reality? But can you define it? Are you even capable of doing that? First off, this so-called reality is temporary, right? How does a temporary thing come into existence? Temporary implies it never existed, and now that it does, it will come to an end. So how did it happen? Have you ever thought about it? It doesn't seem like you have, does it? Second, who is experiencing this temporary existence? What kind of thing is experiencing this temporary existence? Can you define the experiencer? Can you do it? Third, what is the experience of death? What does it actually mean? If we are investigating the subject of this temporary life, it is absolutely imperative we strive to figure out what death actually means. Why do you have to die when you don't want to? Why do you want to live forever but not in this hell? Why, as a child before finding out about death, did you live as though life was never gonna end? Why was the idea about death so shocking and existentially foreign and unnatural? As conscious beings, logic and reason are tools for understanding and communication. We have the experience here that this life is mysterious, and yet, how could we experience that if we didn't have an ancient type of a distant but indestructible memory of a life that is not mysterious? Logic and reason are used to determine what is wrong and what is right. This life is a mystery, and all mysteries contain right answers. So it is important to be right, rather than just curious. It does not matter that we cannot empirically prove our answers are right. It is an intellectual sport, and the best we can do, and must do, is make the most persuasive case we can, using logic and reason. You're not a philosopher if you have no end goal. You're not a philosopher if you don't reach for and find the final answers. You're no philosopher if you are not naturally inclined to pursue all chains of logic to their nth degree. And you're certainly no philosopher if you think philosophizing in public means polite exchanges of gentle curiosities about the origins of this heinous, violent, hateful world of murderers and evil governments. No philosopher in his right mind would go gently into the night and pretend this mortal world is not a prison sentence nightmare hell. Perhaps your style of philosophical curiosity and inquiry is equivalent to a polite party of elderly ladies enjoying tea and scones, where no one raises their voice. Is that it? And that smacks of that eunuch, Eckhart Tolle, doesn't it? Let's be soft and gentle, and pretend we don't live in hell with kidnappers, and infanticide, and corrupt governments who trick their citizens into receiving poisoned injections called vaccines. Let's pretend we can control our predetermined unfolding inner narrative and be happy and at peace at all times, here in this obviously unheavenly world. Isn't it actually insane to try and pretend to be happy in a hellsphere where dogs are hit by cars and rabbits are restrained and have their eyes sprayed with cosmetics? Isn't it actually disingenuous and phony to pretend to be happy, or to even want to be happy in a hellsphere? Answer me! If you recognize you live in a hell world with pain and misery, does it make sense to try to stay here for as long as possible? Does it? How, in good conscience, do you have the nerve to enjoy happiness when you know very well there is great suffering behind closed doors? How, in good conscience, do you have the nerve to be happy or at peace in a world where babies are injected with synthetic chemicals only minutes after birth? Are you some kind of psychopath? Answer me. I am talking to Jew! Ultimately, we search for the answers to delay committing suicide, or in some cases, to justify doing so.
We know this world ain't right. We know that death is wrong at every level. We are not used to having our plans and intentions thwarted. We are not used to worries and disappointments. This mortal condition does not feel natural or familiar. It feels odd and foreign. We are not used to people wanting to control us or change our minds. We are not used to rules and regulations and laws and limitations and restrictions and prohibitions.
There is no such thing as reality in the context you presented. You speak as if reality is a thing separate from your condition. And thus, you say, it doesn't care what we believe, but it is not a physical world that cares or doesn't care. Reality is your psycho-existential condition. Reality is you. And yes, you do care about what you believe you are.
The 4 fundamental questions of philosophy and spirituality.
Number 1. Why am I alive as a temporary creature? How did this happen? Number 2. Is there a God, a singular conscious entity who created and controls this world and me? If so, what are its qualities? If not, how can life exist? Number 3. What happens when I die? Will it be annihilation of my consciousness? Or will it be like waking up from a vivid and intense nightmare? Number 4. Was this temporary life operating on free will free play, whereby we make up each moment as we go along and live by random chance and luck and odds? Or was it predetermined by us in our home state of awareness, reality heaven, before this physical world ever manifested?
Yes, yes. 1,000 times yes. On the internet, I'm a mean, vicious man who is 6 feet, 10 inches tall, and weighs 345 pounds. I am not a happy camper in this hell world. I was a happy, friendly child before I found out about death. I was a sweet boy who loved talking to strangers until my parents began slapping me across the face and spanking my bare ass with a wooden paddle. I don't suffer fools gladly. I don't pull any punches. And I zero in on weak statements and arguments like a shark that smells the chum. I don't fancy polite, gentle arguments or conversations. I'm here to taste blood and fight to the finish, and I see clearly that you are not a fighter. But you have stepped into the ring, darling, and so you get what you deserve. Feedback you don't like or appreciate. I think it is morally reprehensible for a philosopher to refuse to fight and spar over the fundamental questions. I think it is wrong to insist that the chat be gentle and non-combative. Your weakness comes from insecurity regarding your conclusions, which means they have not been thought out to the nth degree. Shame on you! The answers to the fundamental questions must reach the epitome of simplicity, fearlessness, and good news for all living beings, because cosmic love, the highest love there is, demands nothing less. No one on this earth is publishing answers to the fundamental questions that fulfill that criteria, except philosopher Newport. We live in a mystery, and all mysteries deserve our best guesses and conclusions. We have the right to expect to find out if we were wrong or right upon our deaths. Until then, none of us can actually prove to one another what the answers are. We can only offer our persuasive best guesses and conclusions. And so, in that respect, philosophy is just another form of intellectual sport. And if you're gonna play a sport, why play it with anything less than gusto, passion, and enthusiasm? Why play it with anything less than a willingness to fight until you are battered and bruised? Philosophy is a violent intellectual cockfight. Any conversation about it that is not bloody and brutal is nothing but a fancy-dress tea party amongst chronically ill elderly ladies, with Eckhart Tolle sitting cross-legged on the floor next to a giant vase of flowers.
I think perhaps you would better serve humanity by staying in the kitchen and laundry room and nursery, darling. Seriously. Women do not make good philosophers. Your gender renders your thinking all skew-whiffy. You have no intrinsic appreciation for following chains of logic and reason to their end conclusions. It might have something to do with your beautiful boobies. I don't know. Or it might have something to do with the fact that you have no balls, no gonads, no fucking bollocks. Intellectually, you are a wet noodle. Your thoughts and ideas are all floppy and starchy. Please, just stay in the kitchen for fuck's sakes and be happy with being a grandmother, okay? That's a good girl.